tell us about the Watch Dogs. What is the game about?
Watch Dogs is an open action adventure game, a new one done by Ubisoft Montreal, and it's a game about hyperconnectivity. Like, right? It's the story of Aiden Pierce, a man shaped by violence and obsessed with surveillance, who is progressively pushing his obsession to take control of an entire city, Chicago, for that matter. So anything that you think about in an urban environment that's plugged to a computer or connected to internet or used by an individual, you can control it at your own will. So you're going to turn an entire city into a weapon against a corrupted system.
Yes, you talked about the city. Can you tell us a bit about the City OS?
Yeah, City OS actually is a program that is helping run entire cities so they could be more efficient to solve problems of our everyday lives, like traffic jams and stuff like that. If you want a reference in the real world, Rio de Janeiro is working with IBM right now to generate this kind of systems for the Olympics, and those systems exist already. So it's really basically based on real life. Like, that's what we wanted to do. Like, when you sit down on a bench in a big city and you look at people walking, you see devices, you see traffic lights, you see people like listening to the infrastructures to behave. Like, you see a computer, like, in a lot of regards. So it's very interesting to use systems that we use every day and start messing around with it. And we guess that actually maybe that's part of the reason why people are so excited about Watch Dogs right now. It was such an instinctive reaction, right? It felt like, that's a phone. I have that thing. Like, oh my God, like, I can put the traffic lights green. I always wanted to do that while I was driving, right? Like, it's very simple things, but when you put them together and you start having fun with it, it's both fun, new, very actual, and very instinctive for players to understand.
As we have seen in the demo, the game is very sandboxing.
Yeah.
You can choose your different paths, or is the game like linear?
No, it's absolutely open. Like, free roaming is a big part of the experience, and even when you go to a single objective, we're really obsessed with this idea of letting the player express themselves. I mean, the idea of having driving, shooting, and navigation, basing ourselves on all the knowledge that we had from, you know, Splinter Cell games that we did, Far Cry games we did, or also Assassin's Creed for navigation system, then it gives us a really credible base of navigation and shooting and combat mechanics and driving for the game. So it's already a lot of options. But when you add technology on top of that, then you realize you can express yourself in so many different ways. It would be literally impossible for us to just prevent those things from being supported into certain missions. So you're going to be able to do all of that in a layer of anything you can do. So yes, you can act something at 200 miles per hour while you're driving a car. That's actually why we have slow-mo in the game. Like, you know, you saw Aiden Pierce at some point shooting in a slow-mo position. It's not really an helper for shooting. That's a side effect. The reason why we had it is because if we want the player to act a bridge, act traffic lights, while there's two cops like on my back, while I'm driving a Lamborghini at 200 miles per hour, I'm going to need slow-mo to be able to pull that off in a fun way, in an accessible way. So that's what it is.
How hard it is to put all the technology together, including the iPad version?
Yes, actually, the game is running on PC right now. It's official for PS3 and 360. And yes, we have the iPad behind those walls to show you an example of what we can do with mobile devices. Doing a game where the main character can have fun with hyperconnectivity is one thing, but when you start designing and talking about crazy ideas around that subject, the extra gaming outside of the game becomes obvious, right? Well, we need to talk about technology, we need to talk about connectivity outside of it as well. So yes, we'll have mobile devices who can control the city from a distance. You can do it to continue to progress, or you can do it to play in real time against other players that are in any platform out there. So you can act bridges, you can send them challenges, and if they accept your help or your challenge, that creates even a new kind of dynamic that nobody has seen before. So that's the kind of thing we want to push forward.
What are you most looking forward to with the Watch Dogs? Just a simple answer.
Interesting. I'm really interested into how people will behave with such tools. That's it. Like, One thing that I discovered with that game by talking to people is everybody has a little level of perversion into them. And it's not negative, it's just human beings, right? If you were an invisible man, in which room would you be to listen to people talking? You know, the White House? You want to know about certain stars in their room, what they're talking about? You want to know, like, what this person have done wrong? Like, or you want to hear about all the rumors in the world? So this curiosity is interesting, but every one of us have a different degree of it. And the game will make sure we have the entire spectrum. So I'm interested to know how much interest people will have, how they will succumb to this temptation to access information around them all the time. I think that's a very exciting thing that's very different than what we're used to in OpenCity these days.